Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for his questions. Landslides are something that is always a threat to every part of the country. And in particular in Fiji, landslides are often caused by heavy or prolonged periods of rainfall. You have a lot of rainfall, it gets into the ground, the ground becomes saturated with water, especially around a lot of our infrastructure, and when it's saturated for a long period of time, any increase in ground or soil movement can lead to these landslides. And we know where these things tend to happen. There are places in Fiji where they tend to happen. We have the Lomo Lomo slip, where we have issues around that area, the Visari slip, the Dilkusha slip, the Kasavu slip. These are areas where these things are often happening. Now, what does government try to do? First of all, we have mitigation measures. Mitigation measures that we try to implement as part of the remedial rehabilitation of these areas. These mitigation measures are focusing on trying to ensure the general safety of the public when they travel along those roads. Some of these things include building retaining walls where this is necessary. Or sometimes it may involve the installation of temporary bailey bridges, or managing the traffic to single lane traffic, and most importantly, identifying alternative routes that people can take if a road in particular has been affected by a landslide. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, identifying and the proactive management of landslides is something that happens continuously. Trying to predict a slip or a landslide is something that is always going to be difficult. So to support the work on early detection, the FRA has engaged technical teams to conduct soil surveys. They do soil surveys, surveys on topography and slope stability surveys along some of our major highways so that they can try to predict in advance where these things are likely to happen. So these assessments that the FRA does is helpful in trying to support the areas where there should be priority focus on trying to address the likelihood of landslides happening. We know that a lot of landslides may happen because of a lot of different things. One, of course, is because of poor land use planning, the way that we use land. One of the major issues also is deforestation. People cutting down trees, and because that happens, there's a likelihood of landslides happening. So there's a need to ensure that land and property owners implement good land use practices in order to better protect our roads and other public infrastructure. And I think other arms of government are also talking about these issues, the issue of deforestation, land use planning, to try to minimize the likelihood of landslides happening. So I'd like to assure the House that plans are in place to try to address the threat of landslides and slips. And while we cannot be in all places at one time, it is important that we focus on areas that matters the most in terms of ensuring the safety of the traveling public, to ensure better protection also of our road network infrastructure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.